So we've looked at your scissor cutting technique. We've talked about how to get going with collage, right? So now I have this collection of shapes that have been pre-cut. And this is just a little sampling of what you guys can come up with. So for the balanced collage, the challenge is that you're going to choose one type of shape. We have our two categories. We have our organic, which means they're not really reproducible. There's some element where it's kind of free flow, it's referencing the natural world, or it's just something that's really irregular. This shape's kind of questionable, right? It could really kind of go almost into the geometric category. So I might skirt that over there and say, well, you know, I'm gonna pull this onto this side. And then of course we have our kind of geometric shape sampling going on. Do they have to be perfect in terms of it looks like drawn on a computer? No, absolutely not. But it still should be those recognizable geometric shapes that we all know and perhaps you like to work with. So now I'm going to look at my project paper. You guys are going to mark off an area in your sketchbook that's going to be your space that you're going to fill with your collage. So you're not going to use the whole sketchbook page. This is about like what it looks like about 5 inches by 5 inches square. So I'm going to give you a couple of sizes that are in Canvas that you're going to kind of mark off for yourself. And that's what you're going to be designing when you think about, okay, now I need to take these shapes, these paper cutouts that I'm working with, and I need to start to come up with a design for the composition. The last challenge is, of course, your balance. So I'm going to be filling this space in a way that I'm choosing one of the balances to work with. So just really quick, let's walk through that. So maybe I like the idea of symmetrical balance and I really want to work with that. So, and I'm going to choose to work with geometric shapes. So maybe I just start with, you know, a couple of the basic shapes I've cut out and I just start arranging them on my page. Maybe you like the idea of kind of vertical symmetry where you have a bit of this idea of mirror image happening, and I'm just going to start to play with kind of what I might call my base layer of shape. And this is really what the art of collage is about. It's about play. It's about how do I start to take these things that I've created and place them on my page in a way that I'm finding interesting. That, you know, it's like something, well, yeah, I'd want to look at that. It's kind of cool. So you're going to create what I call 3 layers of paper. What I mean by that is you're going to put down a foundational layer, and then once this is glued down, I'm going to go on top of that with additional layers of paper that kind of overlap and go on top of what I've already built. So I'm just literally going to kind of place these and say, well, am I liking that or not? Maybe I want to change and kind of reflect this idea, even though it's not exactly the same. There still is, again, I'm really filling this paper uniformly on both sides, kind of this way and now this way. So this would start to get at 2 layers of paper where I've put this on top of that. Then I would kind of come to additional, perhaps smaller pieces of paper and build another layer on top of that. So I don't consider just kind of placing some shapes down like this and going plonk, plonk, you know, and kind of, you know, that's it, as I really have kind of built up this more sophisticated looking collage where I really considered, again, kind of some finer details. So I might come in and say, well, let's say I'm happy with this, but I want to start to make some smaller, little finer, maybe even cut out some thin dashes out of my paper and kind of add that to the inside of some of these shapes. So when I say 3 layers of paper, it really is the idea of just adding those smaller pieces of paper just to have an additional pop and design element. And it just makes the collage look a lot richer than if I just stuck with, so I'm going to cut out a really tiny circle, maybe one much smaller. Then if I, you know, let's get this going, and maybe I put that there. And you can see as I start to layer, it just gets a bit more dynamic and interesting. And it becomes less about this one foundational layer and just kind of draws somebody in. There's more to look at. So this is, I'm just giving you the basics of how to get going. And, you know, what I'm really going to be looking for is, was there some effort and thought put into this design? Or did you very quickly just cut out some basic or organic or geometric shapes, kind of slop them down, and that's that. So look at the examples in Canvas to give you more guidance on the level of detail that you're going to put into these collages. But it's really good practice to always take that step back and say, am I done? Does this really need something else? You know, kind of think of it like your bling factor. Okay, guys? So hopefully this sets you off on the right path, and you will make this kind of mini balanced collage, preparing us for our main project. Good luck!